He told me his mistress was a lonely single mom and told her I was just a work fling until we both realized we were married to the same liar. It started with a typo. That's the thing about life-altering betrayals. They rarely arrive with thunderclaps or dramatic music. No, mine came disguised as a mundane text message, sent to the wrong number at 2:17 a.m. on a Tuesday. Babe, the kids missed you tonight. Lily asked why Daddy didn't come tuck her in again. I stared at the screen, my heart dropping like a stone into icy water. My husband, Daniel, was snoring softly beside me, one arm flung over his face, dead to the world after a late shift at the office. He'd been working late a lot lately, 3 or 4 nights a week for the past 2 months. I'd chalked it up to his promotion, to the stress of managing a new team. I'd even brought him coffee at the office once just to check. He'd been alone, shuffling papers, looking tired but grateful. But this text wasn't for me. My fingers trembled as I unlocked his phone, something I hadn't done in years. We'd always respected each other's privacy. But now, with that message burning in my vision, I swiped open his messages app. There she was. Hundreds of texts, photos, voice notes. A whole life unfolding in his work hours. Her name was Marissa, 32, a kindergarten teacher. Blonde, with warm brown eyes and a smile that looked genuine. There were pictures of her holding 2 little girls, one with Daniel's exact nose, the other with his messy dark curls. Birthdays, pancake breakfasts, weekend hikes, all tagged with heart emojis and pet names. My love, Daddy Bear, best husband ever. Best husband ever. I read for an hour, maybe 2. The room spun. My stomach clenched. I didn't cry, not then. It was like watching a movie about someone else's life, except I was trapped inside it, powerless. When Daniel finally stirred at 6 a.m., I was sitting on the edge of the bed, his phone in my lap. He blinked, rubbing his eyes. Morning, babe. Sleep okay? I held up the phone. Who's Marissa? His face went white. Not pale, white. Like all the blood had vanished. He sat up fast, eyes wide, searching my expression. You weren't supposed to see that. Supposed to see what, Daniel? That you have a whole other family living 20 miles away in Oak Ridge? That you've been playing house with her and your 2 daughters while I've been here worrying about your stress? He stammered. It's not what you think. Don't, I said, voice low and cold. Don't you dare say that. He ran a hand through his hair, looking like a cornered animal. Look, I never meant for this to happen. It started 3 years ago, before the twins. Before the twins. Our twins, Ella and Noah, were 4 now. Bright-eyed, full of laughter, the center of my universe. I'd had a difficult pregnancy, nearly lost them both. Daniel had held my hand through every ultrasound, every scare. Or so I thought. You were with her before our kids were even born? My voice cracked. He looked down. We broke it off. I chose you. I really did. But then, things got complicated again last year. She was going through a divorce. I just wanted to help. By fathering 2 more children? I laughed, a hollow, broken sound. You helped by pretending to be their dad? He didn't deny it. That morning, I packed a bag, gathered the twins from their cribs, and drove to my sister's house. I didn't yell. I didn't beg. I just left. And for 3 days, I sat in stunned silence, trying to reconcile the man I married with the man who'd built a parallel life behind my back. Then the worst part happened. On the 4th day, Marissa called me. I didn't recognize the number, so I answered. Hello? Hi, is this Claire? A soft, trembling voice asked. Yes, who's this? It's Marissa, she paused. Daniel's wife. I nearly dropped the phone. What did you just say? I said I'm Marissa, Daniel's wife. We've been married for 5 years. We have 2 daughters together. He told us you were the affair. My world tilted. No, I whispered. No, that's not possible. I'm his wife. We've been married for 8 years. We have twins. There was a long silence on the other end, then a choked sob. Oh my God, he told us the same thing about you. We talked for hours. Marissa sent me photos. Her wedding day, their house deed, joint bank accounts. She showed me texts where Daniel had described me as a work fling he couldn't get out of because I was unstable and clingy. He told her he was stuck in a loveless marriage, waiting for the right moment to leave me. Meanwhile, he'd told me she was a lonely single mom. He was just helping out. He'd played us both, perfectly, meticulously, for years. Marissa and I met in person at a quiet cafe on the outskirts of town. She looked exhausted, her eyes red-rimmed but kind. We sat across from each other like 2 survivors of the same shipwreck. I thought I was doing the right thing, she said, stirring her coffee absently. He seemed so torn. He cried when he talked about you. Said he felt guilty for loving me but couldn't abandon you because of your mental health issues. I actually defended you to him once, told him to get you help instead of cheating. I covered my face with my hands. He told me you were desperate, that you latched onto him after your divorce, that he felt bad for you but didn't love you. We both laughed then, bitter, disbelieving laughter. It turned out Daniel had been living a double life with terrifying precision. He kept separate phones, separate credit cards, even a second apartment under a fake name. He'd told his coworkers I was dealing with postpartum depression when he ducked out early and told Marissa's friends that she was the one married to him. He'd even missed our twins' first steps because he was at Marissa's daughter's christening. The betrayal wasn't just emotional, it was logistical. He'd woven two lives so tightly that neither of us could see the seams until it unraveled on its own. We decided to confront him together. We showed up at his office, Marissa and I, side by side. His face when he saw us walking in. I'll never forget it. Pure, unfiltered terror. "You're both here?" he stammered. "We know everything," I said. Marissa stepped forward, voice shaking but firm. "You told me she was a temporary mistake. You told her I was a charity case. Which one of us did you actually love, Daniel?" He couldn't answer. He just stood there, pale and sweating, muttering about misunderstandings. There were no misunderstandings, only lies. We filed police reports. Not just for fraud, though he'd used joint funds from both households to support his double life, but for emotional abuse, manipulation, and bigamy. Technically not legal, but close enough to warrant investigation. His company fired him within a week. The custody battles were brutal. Both Marissa and I had to prove we were the real wife, but in the end, the court recognized my marriage as legally binding, the one registered with the state, the one with shared assets and children born during the union. Marissa's marriage was a sham ceremony performed by a friend. They'd never filed paperwork. But legal recognition didn't erase the pain. Our children, all 4 of them, were now part of a horrific, tangled story they didn't understand. Ella and Noah asked why Daddy didn't come home anymore. Marissa's daughters cried for a father who'd never really been theirs. A few months later, Marissa and I started meeting for coffee regularly, not out of friendship exactly, but solidarity. We were bound together by a shared trauma, 2 women who'd been expertly manipulated by the same charming liar. We swapped custody schedules, exchanged tips on therapists who specialized in betrayal trauma, and sometimes just sat in silence, staring into our mugs like if we stared long enough, we'd find answers. I still struggle with trust. I jump when my phone rings late at night. I vet every male friend my sister brings home with paranoid intensity. But I'm healing. Therapy helps. So does watching my twins laugh, unfazed by the chaos that swirls around them. As for Daniel, last I heard, he's living in a studio apartment, working part-time at a car wash, and still telling anyone who will listen that 2 crazy women ganged up on me. He's blocked both of us on every platform, but sometimes I see him lurking on Marissa's Instagram, liking old photos of his daughters. I don't hate him anymore. Hate takes energy I don't have, but I'll never forgive him. Not for the lies. Not for the children caught in the crossfire. And certainly not for making 2 women believe they were the villain in a story where he was the only monster. If there's one thing I've learned, it's this. The most dangerous lies aren't the grand ones. They're the quiet ones. The ones wrapped in concern, dressed as love, whispered in the dark when you're too tired to question them. And the man who can look you in the eye and say, "I'd never hurt you," while building another life behind your back? He's already done the damage. He just hasn't finished paying for it yet.